other
Uh,
thing, there's so much in the book that we could talk about, you know.
okay, good. All right. All right. Well, I'll ask the first question. So thank you for being a reader for Seven Exits pre-publication and giving me feedback. So if you could just start with your name and what you do.
Yeah, I'm Rob DiFlorio. I'm the Chief Operations Officer for the Syracuse City School District. And I've been in education for 31 years and actually in this school district where I graduated from.
That's
Yeah,
exciting. That's
it,
exciting. So,
it is,
yeah.
and I don't know if you want to start talking about the book right now.
Yes, do whatever you want because we'll use what we want. So feel free. It's much better if it's just a natural conversation than trying to fit something in. So
Because one of the things that stuck out most in the book really was in chapter 20 about complacency and
mm,
being safe. And I've taken a lot of risks in my life. I ran with the bulls in Pamplona, Spain. I practiced martial arts, and I've pursued a doctorate, and I got my doctorate. I set what I thought were ambitious goals for myself in my life, but there always comes a time where you become complacent, and
mhm.
the reason why I ask myself a lot, why do I live where I live? Why do I have the jobs that I have? And they're great. I mean, I've made a great living, I have a great family, but some of the decisions I made throughout my life were about complacency, feeling safe. And had I read Seven Exits, early in my life, maybe there'd be something different because I've fallen into this trap of, being defensive when I get feedback and emotional numbness, becoming just numb and going through the day to day business and staying busy in my work and not setting maybe a goal for myself that is you know, different. That would have been different. I think young people should read this book as well as people who, are setting goals for themselves now. The book brought up, these gold medalists, Simone Biles and Beyonce, as people who continue to push through this and weren't complacent. But I think even in my own life, in my relationships with my wife and my children, are those complacent? I'm complacent sometimes, not working on those relationships. And that is what I really woke the Seven Exits has woken me up to. Um, not looking at these, justifying all my little excuses to just stay in my lane and do my work now and feel complacent in the material things that I have. And I mean, that's not living life. That's not the best life. Living the best life is setting, more ambitious goals that, you really have to dig in and take a risk. And I think about a lot of some of the goals, not a lot, but some of the goals that I've set for myself. I knew I was going to achieve them with just hard work, grit, pushing through. I would achieve those goals. And what Seven Exits has kind of woken me up to is, you know, is that really living? Is that the best life? Because in my life, I think I've learned more from my failures and my successes. But after a great failure in my life, I've usually had the most success. And I don't feel like I personally have done a lot of that, or I could do more. And that's what Seven Exits has really pushed me for.
Do you think that what you're talking about with being complacent, how much of that has to do with the people that we are around? Because for me, when I discovered that, I discovered that oftentimes I was around people who also were not talking about their goals and that sort of stuff. And so it seemed complacency seemed to be the norm.
100%. I mean, when I think about doing something different, usually the feedback I get from, my family is, why would you do that? Why would you become a master beekeeper? Why, like, that is so unusual. That is a strange thing. You don't need to do that. Why would you spend your time there? And it was just something that's like that is an example of me not listening to the feedback, but I usually do listen to their feedback. That was an example of a risk I took and did it. And but most of the people around me in my work and in my family, you know, everyone wants you to be safe. The people who love you don't want to see you fail. And and so I think we fall into this trap of complacency, not only within ourselves in our own hearts, but with the people around me trying to protect me. I don't think they're doing it because they out of envy or they don't want to see me grow. I believe that they do it because they want to see me safe. They don't want to see me fail. And when you have children, it's hard to watch them fail. It's hard to sit back and watch that. But the failure is part of life. Failure is, and in fact, in many ways, it could be the best part of life. It could be the best part of life. But I really think the people around you, they hold them because they love you and care about you, and you care about their opinion. And why you don't push back when they give you feedback like that's not a great thing to do, or that you could lose so much if you went ahead and pursued something that was maybe out of the norm.
So talk a little bit about how 7X's has shifted how you show up in relationships.
Yeah. So this idea of complacency or empowerment is it's these are words that we can just say, but when you think deeply about them, and the book pushes you to stop and think and pause and think about something. When I think about the the challenges in my life, what I struggle with internally in my relationships, it it empowered me to take a risk. And in you know, I'll be honest, sometimes I failed in those relationships because I've taken a risk and maybe shared how I felt. But the openness has grown the relationship. So that's how it's helped me. That's truly how it's helped me.
Did you have a favorite chapter of 7X's?
I honestly, chapter 20, I've read it over and over again. It's for some reason it still sticks out to me. Um, it does because that word hurt me. The word complacency hurt me, and it dug deep. No one gets through life unscathed. We all have some trauma somewhere, and people, no matter what, have they carry baggage and they carry self-doubt, and that does stand in the way of inner peace. It does. And in the book, in chapter 20 specifically, it talked about inner peace being um, a constant. That when inner peace isn't just being safe and being humbled in one place. In fact, it's just the opposite. Inner peace is about being in the turmoil, failing and succeeding throughout life, but maintaining your composure. That's how I saw it. And when I read about complacency, I think, here's how the book has changed me. I ask myself some questions. Am I doing this? Am I making these decisions based on my own baggage and my own safety, my own, you know, excessiveness in my field of work or my hobbies? And then I start to make decisions. So it's paused me, and I think it's helped me make some better decisions. Not that I'm saying that better decisions that I probably fail more in my personal relationships, but I win more in the end. I hope that makes sense. I mean,
Yes, I love that. I
when
love
you're a little
that.
bit vulnerable, if you can be a little bit vulnerable and not stay in the safe zone all the time, with my wife, with my children, it's easy to go home and keep things on the surface. It's harder to confront these things. And where do we want to be in our relationships? Oh, sure, it's that would be nice to live a life of just your day-to-day routines and things are just okay. But I am woken up to the fact that that is not living. Living is about the deep emotion you get from the highs and lows of life. And if you're complacent, you're not living your best life. You're playing it safe. And life's not about playing safe. I mean, you want the best life. You really have to reach in and um, and go for it.
All right. That's great. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts on seven X's. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
yeah.
Any last words?
Yeah, the poems in front of each chapter are I like how they're laid out because they're very thought provoking, and then after it really gives you kind of the tools to move forward with. And I like the layout of the book. It's very organized in that way, and I appreciate that. I really appreciate that.
Thank you. I appreciate you. I'm
Yeah,
excited. I'm excited for your endorsement and certainly appreciative. So
yeah.
yes, can't wait. Can't wait.
It's been very, very helpful and very hopeful too.
Good. We're moving along, and it's even better than the version you have because I've added some, the last little bit and stuff. So I'm super excited to move forward with it. So yeah.
I have to get some copies for my daughters.